Welcome to This Podcast Is Not For You, a very special episode. I'm your host. My name is Wes. To my left, we have a very special guest before we get to the guys that are already on the podcast. We have a very special guest. His name is Zachary Bowman. Zach,
Hello.
say hi.
Hello, my name's Peyton Walker.
Hi,
Oh.
Zach. Nah.
Longtime listener.
I was wondering if he was going to be on the show today. Because my name's Clyde Bruckman.
Oh. Is that an X-Files reference?
My name's Bambi.
Nice. Yes.
Yes.
Lots of jokes that we all get. Today, I am hosting a very special episode talking to these three guys
You already
because
said it.
they recently did something special. They recently watched every episode of The X-Files. Isn't that correct?
Certainly not recently. We finished it recently, for sure.
Within the last few years, you watched
yes,
all of the
yes,
episodes of
yeah.
The X-Files.
Yes, that's true.
And the movies.
In both movies.
And the reboot.
Can confirm.
Yes.
I
Okay.
did watch the reboot as well.
I have not seen all of The X-Files. That's why I'm hosting today. But I'm going to be asking you guys questions about your experience watching The X-Files. Why
Okay.
Why The X-Files, guys? Anybody?
Your guess is as good as ours. Because, no, we sat down at the kitchen table at 223 North Jackson. I guess we probably shouldn't put your address out there. We'll cut that.
I don't live there anymore.
He doesn't live there anymore.
I don't even know who does.
Yeah, no one we know lives there.
Nope.
And we were like, you know what? This was mid-COVID, right? Or
It was before.
it was before. But right before. I mean, right after we had decided everything shut down
Yeah.
and it gave us a lot more time. We decided we want to watch a show together. And so the rule was obviously none of us had seen any of these. That was our rule. We hadn't, if one of us had seen the show, we weren't going to watch it. So we went down the list of, I think it was a Rolling Stone list of top 100 TV shows of all time. And I think we got down to like, I want to say the X-Files was like 30 something.
That's what I was remembering
Yeah.
as well. In that area.
30-something.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got pretty far down.
And I was,
Now, had you seen all of the other shows? Someone had seen all
One
of
of
the
us
other
had,
I think
shows?
someone
yeah.
had seen every
Wow.
one of those.
That's all. That's impressive. It's a lot of shows.
I had always wanted to watch the X-Files, and I thought it was the perfect opportunity because I remember thinking it was one of those shows. It's like, it's so many episodes that I don't think I would watch it on my own. And these guys were like, I don't even remember a strong reaction from anybody. It was just like, sure.
Yeah, definitely.
I think the first strongest reaction was after the Bare Naked Ladies song.
Definitely.
Jamming that first
Yeah.
before watching.
Yeah. Which you played first, right? I believe Zach
Oh.
brought it up. And
I don't know how to.
He's-
live viewing our waveforms so we can correct.
Oh, okay.
Zach's new to podcasting.
if I
It's
remember
okay.
correctly,
Zach's
Zach
new.
was the one that brought up the song first.
Boy, I have no idea.
I mean, it sounds like Zach.
He was definitely the one that played it.
Does
all
someone
the
want
time.
to explain the song thing?
Yeah, go ahead, Zach.
Okay, we can do that because I guess I
mean, Peyton.
was the first one to share it, or at least the first one to play it. So, the lyric that stuck
Okay.
out to us was watching X-Files with no lights on. And from there, we're like, well, we got to listen to this song.
Whoa. We're not even done yet.
Oh, well, that was the first bit.
Yes,
Yeah.
that was the first bit.
That was what made it happen.
Made it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it actually became a theme of ours because in it, we're Dan's La Maison.
Right.
Pronouncement check on that, French speakers.
That was Don La Maisons.
That, yes. Thank you. Wes,
What does that mean?
we're in the house.
He's asking because every single person listening right now is also asking,
Yes.
what are they talking about?
Well,
Out of the thousands of times
we
that
say-
I said it, I
is
don't
this a-
remember knowing.
It
that
is.
much.
He never said. Yeah.
Did we say what song we're talking
No.
about? Okay, what song is it?
Oh, it's one week.
There we go.
We got a
Bye.
Bare Naked Ladies.
BNL.
Yeah. We got a real
Don't.
Yeah, I couldn't
He's
think.
trying.
I couldn't think of what the.
I know what it is.
deer hunter,
It's
red
it's
badge of courage.
sort of. No.
Last
Last
of
of the
the Mohicans.
Mohicans.
That's
They're
it.
all- I know it's an American classic.
Continue, Zachary.
Okay, Bare Naked Ladies, 1 week. Watching X-Files with no lights on.
It's a lyric
These
in
are
the
the
Dance
song.
lyrics.
Lamazon.
These are the lyrics.
You got to really drill deep to find out exactly what's happening right now.
Just get it, guys. Be part of. Understand what we're talking about.
And so it became a theme song because it mentioned X-Files, and Dan's Lamazons means like we're in the house. That's what the band would say when they're watching it together. So that
And you guys model
Became a
your
theme
life
song.
after the Bare Naked Ladies, generally speaking.
Yeah.
So. And I guess we should also say, Zach, who are you?
And then he says, I hope the smoking guy's in this one. He's
Yeah.
still not done.
yeah.
Yes.
I hope the Smoking Man's in this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't really.
Zach
aim-
has been a through thread from all of our lives.
Yeah.
Zach is like someone. He exists outside of time.
At one point in time, every single one of the three of us has lived with Zach Bowman.
Correct. And currently, I'm the only one left.
Yes.
I'm the last one.
I believe I was the first one.
Yep.
We
Yep.
were roommates in the dorms in college.
If you don't count the summer of 2010.
69.
For sure.
That was that summer, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you guys all lived together in the house with the address that we shall
At
not say.
774 North Jackson.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Still said the same
Still
street
North Jackson.
name.
North Jackson, Indiana.
Yes, so that's why you guys were all watching things together, because you all lived together. And I don't think we really stated that, but
We did. For 2 years?
Yes.
all right. How long did it take you guys to get through all of the X-Files? Because there are 218 episodes and 2 movies.
Yes. I would say at least. So it took us across 2 houses, 1 city, two houses. I mean, it was a blur. I think if I was
Probably hundreds of haircuts.
yeah, at least for sure. I think probably 18, 20 months maybe.
Yep. Yeah, it was at least. It was well over a year. I want to say it was. Well, it was very close to 2 years, I think.
Yeah. So
We slowed down quite a bit.
And
give
that's,
us a general.
yeah.
Okay, go on.
Well, and that's the thing about that Pate was mentioning is it is very daunting. 218 episodes, and
It's
not
a long
only
show.
and it is old TV where. It's old school 40-minute episodes.
Yeah.
Like, because now it's like, oh, The Walking Dead's 40 episodes. Like, well, they were doing it a long time before that, and so you hear 218 episodes, and yeah, it's an old show. Okay, so that's probably like 20 minutes. No, they're like 44, 46-minute episodes, and so it took us a while. Yeah.
Now, for those out there that don't know, give a general premise. I want to hear Zach give a general premise about what is the X-Files about. Zachary, go.
X-Files revolves around an FBI branch that solely investigates the paranormal. 2 main characters. They are kind of like fire and ice. One is a believer in the paranormal. The other is more science-based. Skeptic. Thank you.
Mhm.
Yes, exactly. And with that in play, there is an overarching. Yeah, I was really trying to keep it concise.
so good. I was just saying it's so special.
Oh,
You've done it long enough that you know when you're hearing the bumper.
But
Oh.
it can't be too long, and
Yeah.
it was dragging.
And
We
now-
can pretend that we didn't cut. We'll cut this out, and then we'll bring you
We'll
right
bump
back in. So, but you got to wrap it up if you want to be the bumper. Here we go.
okay. So the X-Files is about an
Oh
FBI.
no, no!
You
Pick
don't
up
have to
from the
start
middle. Act like you've already been talking.
Okay.
You ended at the characters. Fire and Ice.
Fire and
One's a
Ice.
skeptic.
Okay. So the two main characters are Fire and Ice. One's a believer and one's a skeptic. It follows them on various investigations. There are mythology episodes and there are Monster of the Week episodes.
Mhm. Which
There
we
we
can get
have it.
into more
Nice.
in detail.
Nice.
Good job.
I
Really
think we
good,
Zach.
can-
Zach.
let's bump that.
Bump it.
I couldn't have.
This is-
I could not and would not have said it better myself.
That was very articulate. I liked it. Jake, along your path of watching the show, you were gifted something.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, when it takes you a long time to do something, you need to talk about it normally, you know, when it comes up in conversation with your friends, with your family, or whatever. And so my sister-in-law got me, so it would have been 2 Christmases ago, got me this X-Files commentary book, Monsters of the Week, the complete critical companion to the X-Files. It's always special when you're seeing the thumbnail. Live in person. So, but yeah.
So now I gotta find and make that the thumbnail.
So yeah, it's basically two authors, Zach Handelin and Emily Todd Vanderwerf, and they each kind of break down every episode. And by this time, we were already in season 6, and so the tradition is you watch an episode, get the book out, see what they had to say. And then the fun part is when we were doing our rewatch of our favorites, we were watching episodes that we didn't read the commentary on before.
Mm.
And so that was fun, just to be like, we know what we think about it. Let's see what, and it was fun is, it's like they would hate some of the episodes you guys would love the most, or they would, and vice versa. And so it was a fun added tradition to the...
Yeah, that became. I feel like it carried us through probably some episodes, whereas like,
A real rough one.
yeah, or made us want to watch the next one a little bit more. So
I'm curious.
it's a fun
This
thing.
isn't on the outline. If you had to give a percentage of good episodes to bad episodes, how many do you think are good and how many do you think are bad?
I have to define the terms before we can even start having this discussion. What is good?
I don't mean like so bad
Entertaining.
it's good or like bad in an entertaining way. I mean genuinely good or whew, that was a rough one.
Okay.
Percentage.
For anybody?
Anybody.
For all of us? I'm going to say... I would say 70-30. 70...
Good.
I think 70 bad and 30
Oh,
good.
I was,
okay.
I was thinking
Oh.
I literally said in my head, I said, I bet there's 65 or 70 really good episodes. And then I said, okay, well, do the math, cut it in half because there's 218. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's about 32, 33%. That's exactly what I was thinking
Yeah,
in
I
my
think
head.
70-30, 70 really good or 70 really bad episodes. Not really bad, but bad or really bad. And then I think there's 30 really good quality episodes. Yeah.
30%.
30%.
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry.
Zach, would you agree with this consensus or were you going to say something else?
I was about to start nodding my head in agreement with
Of
70-30 of
But the other direction?
the other direction.
There is no way you think there's 150 good episodes of the X-Files.
Now,
Well, first
we're
we need
saying
to define our...
We did already. Objective
were
quality.
you not listening to my definition?
Not entertaining.
He's like,
not
"No,
just
I wasn't."
entertaining. Objectively good quality. Good writing. Good acting.
The entertainingly bad ones are a different.
Yeah, they definitely are. They're our favorites. They're some of our favorites, but they all would fall in the bad category.
I guess what I'm hung up on is there's always something redeeming. If just one zinger from Mulder, a main character, it can make up for a whole lot of
43
sins.
minutes of...
For Zach, yes.
All right, whatever. Yeah, okay. All right.
Okay, so let's start talking about as you guys were going through and watching the show. What do you feel like X-Files did for television at the time? For reference, I have only watched about 3 seasons worth of only the mythology episodes. So I guess we can kind of describe mythology versus Monster of the Week. It kind of is exactly what it sounds like.
Well, also, that's what it did for television at the time,
Yeah.
too. So why don't you expound on that?
Well, so Monster of the Week episodes were literally self-contained, like they didn't really connect to any overarching story. They were kind of the traditional television format of it's episodic. It's the beginning, middle, and end, and then the episode's over and it moves on. And I guess maybe you have recurring monsters that might come back in some shows. I don't know if X-Files did, but then you also had mythology episodes, which were kind of an overarching serialized story, right? About how many, from my memory, the mythology episodes were maybe like between like 5 and 10 a season, something like that, out of whatever, 23 a season. Does that sound about right?
That sounds about right to me.
Okay.
In the heat of it, yeah.
So
Yeah.
for me, I've only watched the first 3 seasons, and I only watched the mythology ones because I was watching it by myself at the time. This was a number of years ago, and I was like, I'm not watching 218 episodes of something. So I just like, oh, I'll just go through the mythology stuff and get the overarching story, and then at a certain point, I kind of just burned out on it because I think the mythology also kind of became incoherent at times. But
You can say that again.
but it did have a serialized feel to it in some of the episodes. It kind of broke away from the traditional format. What was it like watching that, having not seen the show before, but having seen shows that are influenced by X-Files? What was that kind of like for you guys?
I thought it was exciting to come. I mean, we watched almost every night there for a while, where we were every night after work we were coming home and screaming Dans La Maisons. We were getting pizza,
jamming to the Bare Naked Ladies.
jamming, coming up with little inside jokes while we watched. But like, I would say it was just really exciting to not know which one this was going to be, because we try to keep ourselves from, is this a 2-parter? We don't really want to know that. It's at the end of the season. That's very, very often a mythology one. The bookends of the seasons, beginning and ends. But not knowing whether it was going to be a monster of the week or a mythology was pretty fun.
Yeah,
And sometimes you don't even know, like, after the cold open, you still don't know.
Yeah, yeah, and I think some of the roulette type experiences also carried over to like the quality of the episode. You know, I mean, there'd be just a few where, you know, I mean, the cold open is a guy playing baseball in like the 1940s or something, and you know, you're like, what this cold open just said, there is no way that that's what the episode is about. Like, basically,
Also, multiple times I had the question of if we were watching the right show.
yeah.
I was like, is this the X-Files?
So the randomness of it was a big part of like the draw for me, at least. It's like, who freaking know? Like, I mean, literally, like the episode I'm saying is like, there is an undercover conspiracy, like, that all the best athletes in the 40s and 50s and 60s were actually aliens. And that's why they were so good. And they just love playing sports so much that they just, like, I mean, that's the episode. I mean, it's insane. It's like, what are we going to get tonight? You know, I mean, it's crazy.
Zach, any thoughts?
That is something I loved about the X-Files is I believe Chris Carter, the creator, he called it the elasticity of the X-Files. It can go from serious, spooky, humorous, and out there.
All in one
with
cold open.
the
All
truth
in one
being
cold
out there.
open. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And the truth really set the television world free because it influenced a lot.
It did. It was an influence definitely on one of my favorite shows, Lost. It was
Much.
an influence on a lot of stuff, a lot of science fiction television in general. But probably watching the way you guys did, not looking into what was coming up, was probably very similar to what it was like for people watching week to week at the time, which is kind of an interesting thing to manufacture for yourselves going in to watch a show that's however many years old. I mean, what year did it start? 94?
It was early 93, 92, 3
Yeah.
or 4, something like that.
And
Early 90s.
I watched an occasional episode with you guys, and
Yeah.
some of the early ones you can really tell, which we'll get to how it's aged later. But what is each of your favorite thing about the X-Files as a whole, starting with you, Zachary?
Well, kind of just...
He's pretending to think like he didn't stew over the outline for 24 straight hours. So.
He wrote...
I think he was listening to an X-Files podcast this morning, too.
He typed...
Definitely was. Did you hear it?
Yeah, I did.
He typed up a whole thesis about his favorite thing.
Wow, you really caught me off guard there.
Yeah, I think it's something about the elasticity of the show. No, definitely the elasticity, because it can just be so crazy.
Right.
It could be so crazy. The episode Jake was referencing earlier. Okay, it's about baseball, but the very beginning has some of the best dialogue ever when they're talking about the sports, the score boxes, right?
Yes.
Between Skolder, if you will, the portmanteau of the two main characters.
You definitely wrote this before.
You are getting what you are paying for, ladies and gentlemen. You're welcome.
This is a glimpse into being in Zach Bowman's life. Just phrases come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So tell us about the portmanteau.
Mulder and Scully, so you get Skolder, but would be the portmanteau of it.
So yours would be the kind of wide range of stuff that you would get from the show.
That's correct. Also, the characters.
Like a legal answer. That is correct.
It's like a panel, so I'm answering a question.
I concur.
Yeah. So characters, story, it can go anywhere.
I don't know.
It's the excitement of it.
Yeah. Pate, what's your favorite aspect of X-Files? You got talking to the microphone. I thought you were going to leave it down here.
I think my favorite part of the X-Files has nothing to do with the show. I think my favorite part of the X-Files is the stuff that we would make up from things. I mean, I'm sure there's no one that has some of the stuff that we came up with from watching the show. Like, that would be a running thing that we would joke about. I think my favorite part of it was, I guess you could fold that into how different it was every time we watched it, and the diversity in the episodes, because it would allow us to there was so many inside jokes because of how many different kinds of episodes there were. I think just how weird it is, generally. I think just how weird it is my favorite part. Just how they didn't care at all about a studio. They didn't care about what anybody was telling them. Clearly. They just did their own thing the whole time. I mean, for 9 seasons and 10 seasons
11.
and 11, including the last 2.
Yes. Yeah.
9 original run.
Yeah.
But I mean, they cared what the fans had to say, and they would throw some like little things in there, but like it was not run by the fans like things are today. I think
Right.
that was probably my favorite part.
Jacob?
Man, he brings up a lot of good points.
I have to disagree with all of them.
I think
That's correct.
That's correct.
My favorite thing would be I'm just piggybacking, but I was going to say this because it is my favorite. It's the unashamedness that it presented itself with is my favorite. You absolutely, I could say 100% certainty you do not get television like the X-Files anymore. And it could be because you can't. I mean, it's just so just like it wholeheartedly dove into what it was week to week, and it was okay with that. And there's something you can tell when the actors are like given the most absurd script and they just like, yes, and they're just like, okay, and that's top to bottom. So that only happens because the actors and the cast and the writers were gelling so much that it's like, okay, there's a trust here. We're building something, and I'm gonna whatever. I mean, even you get into the minutia of like even Mark Snow. I mean, the composer. I mean, it's ridiculously composed. But it's like it doesn't even care. It's just so strange, and it is such a time capsule of a television show, and it is so different than anything that's come. I mean, I can't think of anything that has come out in the last 15 years that is even close to the X-Files.
I mean, there's a lot of ripoffs. I think there's a lot of
Fringe was probably the most notable
yeah.
modern attempt at something similar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there's a lot of people trying to emulate it, but like creating a new thing like the X-Files did like that. Yeah, I mean, there's no.
But that was
And
my favorite
leaning
thing.
into the conspiracy world and presenting conspiracy theory stuff as if it was 100% real.
Yeah.
Like every conspiracy you can think of.
It
It's
did
in
one
there.
on it, yeah. Except it never did a Bermuda Triangle episode.
Yeah,
Really?
It did. That was
it was the
actually.
boat
That was the
episode.
boat episode. Yeah, never
It
mind.
was a good one. Yeah. The one it
It
never
was a
did.
good one. I just
Cut
forgot
Jake
that
out
it
of the
was-
episode.
I
This,
forgot it was
this
in
one I
Bermuda
know
Triangle.
for sure it never did. It never did a Bigfoot episode,
Really?
and I couldn't believe it.
wow.
I
And
kept
I have a
waiting for a
theory
Bigfoot
For
episode.
shooting in Canada, you would have thought they
I
would have
think
done
it's
one.
because Bigfoot is real.
Oh,
That's
okay. It's not
probably it.
conspiracy.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
I was. I was
thinking.
Well, I was just.
No. He
I was thinking I actually kind of would like to change my answer.
oh,
Scully?
no. Is your favorite thing Scully?
Me and Zach.
Well, let's be honest here.
Me and Zach. Well, I don't want to just. I feel like it was more me and Zach than Jake, but Jake also was. He's on board, but me and Zach were single at the time,
We're single at the time,
and
And now you're together.
and
now
now
we're together.
we do
Now
live
their
together.
favorite thing-
Yes.
Every time I look at the little bit of red in his hair.
And now their favorite thing is Mulder.
Oh.
Yep, that's right. That's
wow.
right.
What do you want to change your answer to, Zach?
Oh, well, they started to get into it. I fully agree of those intangibles. I feel like now could be, if you don't mind me saying that word, only because that what you guys said was exactly why I liked it too.
Well, yeah.
Getting to hang out with each other.
Yeah.
Those inside jokes. It just made it a whole lot easier that 70% of the episodes were good.
Yeah, because you guys would have bailed.
For sure. Yeah, I said this the other day.
Failed
There's
long.
absolutely no way I would have watched this show by myself. I never would have made it through watching it.
I mean, there could be an argument to be made that says I wouldn't have even made it through the first season by myself. I mean,
Yeah.
and there was a discussion amongst ourselves where you guys remember where it's like, okay, after season 3 or 4, if we still don't like it,
Yeah.
we are gonna pick a new
We
show.
reserve the right to cancel.
Remember
it.
this guy?
Pate was
I-
not feeling it. Pate
He
was
wasn't.
kind of
I think
ready.
it was more like season 4 though. I think
It was once we got to Doggett and Reyes, I was struggling.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I was like, I
Yeah.
don't know. If they don't come back, then what's the point?
yeah.
But
There's a couple.
we struggled through, and I think it
Yeah.
was.
There was
worth
a
it.
run where there was no Mulder and Scully.
Yes.
Correct. Yeah.
For how
And it
long?
was dry. One season, I think.
A full season with no Mulder
Yeah.
or
I think
Scully?
plus a couple episodes bleed on either side. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
There was
I didn't
some
know that.
Scully. There was some
Scully was
Scully,
there.
but
Yeah.
yeah.
It was more of a cameo than anything.
No David
That-
Duchovny at
correct.
all.
no
correct.
Duchovny.
Weird. Did he leave the show or like?
Yes.
Hmm. Interesting. I did not know that. Okay. Favorite. What?
Yeah.
I was gonna go into favorite
Well-
episodes.
Do you want to talk about the intangibles now?
We could.
Let's just go into them on detail here in a minute, because there's a lot to talk about with the intangibles.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's just go through the concrete things of the show, the ones you can tangible.
The ones that can tange.
Favorite episodes. What are some of your guys' favorite episodes of the show?
Well, I'll tell you, and then I'll tell you what. I'll tell you exactly what I'm doing. And I'll tell you.
We had
I'll tell
a.
ya.
Let me just warm this up for Jake.
I'll tell you.
We had a draft. We all brought in our favorite top, whatever, 20, 30 favorite episodes, and we drafted our top 5.
He asked, and then he
Um,
was like, nah, by the way,
I'm
not
going to
really.
take off. If you guys don't need me for this. So we all picked our top 5, and Jake has them right here, and I think he has who picked them, right?
I do, yeah. So
Okay.
if you want to read your own,
Sure.
you totally can.
So my top 5 were Beyond the Sea from season 1, Jose Chung's From Outer Space from season 3.
Which I think anyone would have picked that one for sure.
Yeah.
So,
Makes a lot of top tens.
Yeah.
Musings of a Cigarette Smoking Man from season 4.
which I think anyone would have picked that one for sure.
That makes a
Definitely.
lot of top tens as well.
Postmodern Prometheus from season 5. I kind of was disappointed in myself for picking that one because after we watched it
Oh
again,
man, why did I do that?
after we watched it again, I was like, man, that wasn't as good as I thought it was. And then my last one was Monday from season 6.
That is a good one.
Jakey?
My top fives. My top 5. It's not plural. It's just one top 5. One singular top 5. DPO season 3.
Jack Black.
War of Coprophages
That's perfect. Bambi.
season 3. That's when I show up. Small Potatoes season 4. Drive season 6. Which we'll
Which has
talk about.
Bryan Cranston.
Yep. And that was my
Was
top
that 5?
5s. That was my top 5s.
Zachary.
It took me a second. A lot of mine were at the tail end. Okay, first one was Clyde Bruckman's Final Repose.
Which I mean, I think anyone
Everyone would
pick
pick that one.
Yeah.
I
It's
think it
on
was an early draft
Except
pick.
you guys
a lot of
didn't
top
pick it.
tens. Yeah.
Early draft pick.
Well, so that's the thing is it was a draft. So if he picked it, we can't.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
gotcha.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's all right. You weren't there. It's fine.
He doesn't
You weren't
understand
drafted.
how
I,
drafts
I was
work.
looking at the camera.
Serpentine or rotisserie?
Uh,
But that might get Zach.
Next up, I had The Unnatural. So just skip from
This
3
is the
to
episode
6.
that Jake was referencing. This is the baseball episode. One of the funniest episodes of
I
television
get
I've
the
ever
title
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
The Unnatural. Yeah.
Exactly. Then had Hollywood A.D.
That is a great episode.
Yeah.
Upon rewatch, that one is really good.
Yep.
Hmm.
Another Darren Morgan one, I think, right?
No, actually,
was it?
David Duchovny.
Did he write that? Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He did write that.
Yeah.
We'll talk about
Fun-
Darren
fun
Morgan.
fact.
in
I
a
was going to
second.
say we need a whole section on Darren Morgan.
Then Ex-Cops.
Now this is exactly what I was saying.
Is that the Cops crossover?
Yes, but you told me about it, and that's what you told me before we
How
ever saw
dare
it,
you.
and I will never forgive you.
That's not even
I don't
mythology,
even
Wes.
remember.
I know. He's like, "Oh, have you guys got to the X Files and the Cops crossover yet?" I'm like,
Listen,
"Well,
In fairness to him, if you'd ruined that many movies and TV shows,
that's
how would
true.
you remember?
It's old hat.
Yeah.
At this point.
See-
He's like, "Which one was this?"
I have never seen that episode. I didn't know that there was that episode, so I don't know how I was the one
You
that
were
spoiled
reading
it.
an article about it or something. I swear on my life, you said it, and then we watched it like a month later. And when it started, it is a Cops cold open.
Yeah.
I mean, and so I was like, "Oh, this has to be." But you know, I mean,
Talk about thinking we were watching the wrong show.
yeah, for sure. And then it
Yes.
was like, "Oh
That is
man,
correct.
because it is." And that's what I mean is like if it seems like in the writers' room they sat down and were like, "Dude, wouldn't this be crazy?" And that's exactly what they do.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're listening to this and you're watching this, you think, "What does an X-Files Cops crossover look like?" And the first thing that comes to your head, that is exactly what it is. I mean, it is a Cops episode where they are in it. I mean, it's crazy. So, whew, that's a great episode.
Yeah, they
But
even
it was the
do
biggest like. Have no idea what's gonna happen
Yeah.
when you turn,
Imagine watching it live.
Yeah, exactly. Oh,
If
man.
you came into that episode
What's-
late, you would have thought you were watching Cops because it even the commercial bumpers.
Right.
Oh yeah.
How
One of them
late-
was
with
X-Files
it.
and
Yeah.
one
And it even does the Cops theme song.
Oh my
It does
gosh.
the bad
Yeah.
voice, and then it does.
and then it does the X-Files theme song.
Just back to
Yeah.
back?
No, no, no.
Yeah.
It does the Cops one at the cold open, and then
Yeah.
after that first
It does the
commercial break,
X-Files.
it does
Oh,
the
okay.
Yeah.
X-Files.
How late in the run was that?
5?
Smile.
Season 5, I think.
I think it was 7.
7.
Okay.
Yeah. It's so crazy.
And
Back to
still
the
not
top
the weirdest episode.
Fives. Top fives.
Yes, Zeki, what's your...
No. I think this takes it. This could be the top ones. Mulder and Scully meet the were-monster.
That's pretty good.
Which is a late one. It's like
Is
season
that one
10.
of the reboots
It
Yeah.
is.
with Rhys Darby?
Yeah.
It is with Restart.
Exactly. Oh, that's
not mine.
Jake's.
Well,
I think
cool.
it's one of the funniest and most clever concepts in the whole show.
And so I guess I wanted to get the list out. Those were our favorites, right? But did any upon rewatch, were any that you said, "Oh, I wish I would have picked this"? Actually,
Mine was the Bermuda Triangle episode. I really wanted to watch that one again, and it was tough between that one and Postmodern Prometheus, because
And you
in
really
the Bermuda
messed up,
Triangle
man.
one, there's 3 timelines or 2 timelines. One of them's like them in the 40s in like Nazi, like they're like on a Nazi U-boat or something, and I don't know, it was crazy. And then the other timeline is, and it would split. It would do a split screen of like present day and 40s.
Hmm.
It was wild.
In one shot.
Could not believe what was happening.
It was made in one shot style, I guess, right?
I think there were sections that were one shot. The whole episode? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I mean, you're gonna cut when you go through a
Yeah.
door or something like that.
And maybe
but
it was.
it was filmed
Maybe it was.
like it was.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I think you might be right.
So
That is correct.
briefly talk about Darren Morgan, because every time you guys were watching the show, and I would talk to you guys about it, I think Darren Morgan would get mentioned. Who is he, and why are his episodes special?
Zach, you want to take it?
To be honest, I feel like I wouldn't be a good person to answer this. I totally get why and can fully answer it now, but I couldn't remember his name for the longest time. So I'd feel like I'd be cheating if I answered it.
Darren Morgan is a writer who has little other credits. I think he did like 7 or 8 episodes, maybe something like that, of the X-Files. His brother Glenn Morgan was a director. I think he did some writing too, and he may have been helping co-showrun with Chris Carter at one point. I don't know, but he would always write, and this developed over time. We didn't know this obviously going in, but you watch 200 plus episodes of something, you get used to watching the credits, and you get seeing who's in it and who's writing and whatever. His episodes were by far the funniest and weirdest every single time. It seemed like every time we had an episode, we were like, man, that was a really funny episode and weird one. It was Darren Morgan. So we started following it more. He just did, of those on the list, he probably did 4 or 5 of them, I would say.
yeah.
So he was like, and I think most X-Files, like cinephile X-Files, would you call them X-Files?
Big fans.
People actually call them X-Files, but with a PH.
Oh, perfect.
Okay. Okay.
I think most of those people know and have the same thoughts of Darren Morgan as like the guy for the X-Files. So yeah, he's just and like I said, he doesn't have a lot of other IMDb credits. Like he hasn't done a lot of other things. So
And the other major writer that got his start on the X-Files was Vince Gilligan, who created Breaking Bad, correct?
yeah.
Okay.
He also had he had I think he had a reality show, right, in the 90s or something called Gilligan's Island, or was that
Yes, that's right.
or the 80s? Might have been 80s actually.
That is
It's
correct.
also not a reality show.
60s? Correct. 70s, maybe.
60s or 70s, and it's
Late
not a
60s.
reality
Well, that's
show.
what I'm saying is it was to reality TV what X-Files was to like serialized.
Right. Correct.
What were some of you guys' favorite story arcs from the run of X-Files? Any specific arcs that you're like, that was a good run of episodes, or this thing in the mythology episodes I really liked, or even if it wasn't good, it was just entertainingly bad?
I think the one that jumps to my mind is when Scully gets, I guess, spoilers for a show that's 30 years old.
Yeah.
Scully gets abducted.
Mm-hmm.
Does she get abducted or not? We don't know.
She
And that is a common thread in the X-Files, let me tell you. We don't really know what happens at the end of every episode. But that run of Scully getting abducted and then what Mulder has to do to try to get her back, and also like dealing with the possibility that he maybe won't get her back. I think it was like a 4 or 5 episode thing, the end of one season to the beginning of another one.
I think I have seen that run of episodes. It was decently early in the
I
series.
think it was
right?
2, yes.
Okay.
End of season 2 and beginning of season 3. Yeah, that one jumps out to me.
Zachary?
I really enjoyed it was not necessarily an arc, but it presented itself in a couple episodes when a spaceship comes ashore, and it's basically everything on Earth that we know originated from this ship. Like there are passages from, the Torah, every major world religion, scriptures. There's DNA encoded on the ship somehow. Can't remember.
Yeah.
But that was kind of interesting. Scully's out there investigating it. Mulder gets a rock that makes him too much knowledge or something like that.
It gets very Smallville. I remember thinking that.
There's a rock that does something to somebody.
Yeah.
Jacob?
Well, wouldn't Smallville get very X-Files?
Definitely.
Right.
Yeah, that's
I don't know. I
No,
really
that's
don't.
really what happened.
Jake,
Okay.
you are
Yeah.
absolutely
Well,
correct.
No, not really, because Superman certainly
Well, the format of Smallville was very much
X-Files,
X-Files.
yeah.
A lot of
Monster-
crossover
Monster of
writers.
the week and
I didn't
oh,
know
really?
Yeah, there's a lot
Yep.
of crossover.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't really. I put that. Don't really have any that jump out to mind. The only things would be certain episodes, but they're bottles. you
Okay, then
know.
what's your favorite cameo? If you don't have an answer
Favorite
to that.
cameo?
That's a good one.
No, let me think about it.
Let me just throw one
maybe-
more in there
maybe-
for story arcs. It's not per se a story arc. I would say anything with Cigarette Smoking Man. I think that
Yeah.
I think he probably deserves his own little mention. Anytime he's in the show, it's great. So I don't know if you
He's
call
this
that an
kind
arc.
of mysterious figure that's in the background of
Yeah.
all of the stuff going on, heavily tied into the mythology of the show,
Sort of like pulling all the strings.
heavily tied into the character of Mulder as well.
May or may not have killed JFK and Martin Luther King.
Mhm.
Right.
So, big important
and,
guy.
And he's just a hopeless writer too.
Yeah.
Which is
But
the
he
best
also
part.
he also rigged the 1998 Super Bowl or
Correct.
something. Like he's
Yep.
known for a lot of
Oh,
stuff.
that's right up Zach's
Well, he's
alley
not
right
known
there.
for a lot of
Yeah,
stuff, I guess.
yeah.
But
Yeah. Speaking of spoilers, just thought of this. Bare Naked Ladies actually spoiled Smoking Man, saying,
Yeah,
"I hope
hope
Smoking
Smoking
Man
Man's
is
in
in Smoking Man's in this one." We didn't know he was a main thing.
Although he is in the pilot, is he not?
yeah, he's in the
Yes,
pilot.
but
They go,
I don't think he said any
He
words
does,
in
he
the
doesn't.
pilot.
He does because I lost $5 because they say, "Do you believe him?" Or "Do you believe him?" And he goes,
Of course I
course I
do.
do.
Oh, that's
"Because I
that
said
was the
he
pilot.
didn't say anything." And
Oh,
then, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Very, very, very end.
Okay.
Believed him?
that's true.
Well, I'm glad I didn't just bet
course
you
I do.
$5. I know. I mean,
My favorite
Yeah.
cameo is Shia LaBeouf.
It's a good
Oh,
one.
really?
Yeah,
Wow.
That's a good one.
yeah. Shia LaBeouf or
The reason we're
Jack
asking this
Black.
is because a billion people were on
Oh my
X-Files.
gosh.
Ryan
so
Reynolds.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Let's just run down a quick list of, you got those three. Shia LaBeouf, Jack Black, Ryan Reynolds, who else?
Luke Wilson.
Okay.
um,
I mean,
Brian
pretty,
Cranston.
Bryan
We already
Cranston.
mentioned.
pretty much every television actor ever, probably.
Is it? Kathy Griffith is terrible in it.
Okay, that was part of the 30% that was bad.
Yes.
I didn't-
Thank
I-
you, Zach.
Perhaps did not like that episode.
Trying to think of-
Seth Green,
Hmm.
Felicity Huffman, Jane Lynch, Danny Trejo,
I forgot about him too. Yeah,
Burt Reynolds, of course.
Oh, that was a
Yeah,
good one.
That was crazy.
that would probably be an honorable mention.
Jodie Foster.
Holy
Yeah.
crap.
Yes, it was just her voice though.
Yeah.
What? How is it just her voice? How is
She plays a tattoo. Wes, you haven't seen the
Excuse me.
Exactly. exactly.
New favorite story.
Oh, Billy Bibbit. What's his name?
Oh, from from One
What-
Flew.
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Billy Bibbit.
The guy who's also in Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, Billy. His name's Bill, right? Yes. His real name is.
Bill.
Can't remember
Bill.
his name.
That's a teaser. That's a spoiler for later.
Anyway,
He played Wormtongue
yeah,
in Lord of the Rings.
I would say he's. I would actually say his is my favorite because that's my favorite episode.
That's my favorite cameo.
Yeah,
for sure.
Brad Dourif is his name.
Yes. Okay. How has the X-Files aged? Does it hold up?
Kumail.
Oh,
The male's in a later season. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He was pretty good.
It's not really a cameo.
is he just a character?
At that, I guess, how do you define cameo, right? I mean,
First,
Well,
we need
all
to
of those-
define
I was
what
assu-
we're
All of
talking
those
about.
names that you mentioned.
Someone that's
John-
in one episode, I think.
oh, certainly a cameo.
Certainly a cameo.
Well, and we also mentioned Reese Darby is in
Yep.
an episode of the newer ones, right? How is the X-Files aged? Does it hold up visually? I remember watching an episode with you
I think
guys, and I was like,
early
oh my
on, it
gosh.
was rough. First season
it's
was
like some early video.
because they're trying to do
in there.
technology stuff,
Yeah.
and there's an episode called Ghost in the Machine, and it's
Is that the one with
basically-
Kyle?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
basically all about computers, and at this point, you're talking 92 or 93, and the computer just is not convincing. Like,
Mm,
even, and especially when you don't have a budget like 2001, it's like you can't make a computer look greater, and it's supposed to be terrifying. And it's like,
yeah.
it's pretty bad.
Well, I just remember visually speaking, some of their effect shots
Oh yeah,
are
first person shooters
real
terrible.
rough.
I mean,
Right after a really good one too. I
Yeah.
don't remember what it was, but it followed
Yeah.
like one of our favorite episodes.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's aged very well at all.
yeah, there's like different resolutions.
But
On
part of that
different
is
shots.
the charm too. Like we'd see
Yeah.
B-roll.
Oh, that's B-roll.
B-roll would be just the grainiest thing you've ever seen.
Yeah.
But it's so, I don't know. It doesn't necessarily make it. It's not distracting necessarily. Like when you
Once you
see
get
something
used
on
to it.
TV that has bad CG, it's distracting. But for some reason on the X-Files, it was more like charming.
I think it's because the highs of the early '90s are so low now, and so their lows aren't really that low when it's you're comparing
Yeah.
it to itself once you're in it.
Right.
You're done comparing it. Oh, I'm season 3. I'm not expecting.
The only reason you
loss,
notice it is
or-
because it's disjointed from itself.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
It's like,
That's
oh,
the
this
only time
doesn't
you
match the
notice.
rest of the
Yeah,
show.
Yeah,
Because the show itself, what they're filming, looks fine.
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
might be some moments that are like, it's a little dated, or
No,
a
yeah.
concept like the.
No, the film looks good on
Yeah.
the first few seasons when they're shooting in Vancouver, and the look of it is good.
Mm-hmm. How did just out of curiosity, how did the reboot compare to the original run? Were you guys like, this shouldn't have even been a thing, or was some of it pretty good?
I think season 10 is weaker than season 11. I think, even though season 11 spoilers, you get the whole son stuff.
Yeah.
I know that was kind of a big eye roll, but
Mhm.
I think
Mulder and Scully having a son.
yes,
Yeah.
Meet the Were-Monster is almost makes the reboot completely worth it.
Forehead
Like,
Sweat too. I
yeah.
think that
Forehead Sweat
Oh,
is really good.
Another
yeah.
honorable mention.
So there's a couple episodes that make it completely worth it. And season 10 is only 6 episodes.
Hmm.
So, it's like
Joel McHale.
Joel McHale.
oh,
just pops
another
up.
cameo.
He just
Yeah.
pops
Oh,
up.
no,
pops
that's
up
not a
in-
cameo. That's
He's
recurring.
a multiple run.
Yeah.
I
He does
agree.
a couple cameos.
I agree with
guess.
Jake.
Let's just say
Multiple
that.
cameos. Okay.
I think the only thing they could have done
Recurring
differently
cameo.
is, do it a little earlier. I think they just waited too long
Hmm.
for Duchovny and Anderson.
Yeah.
I think if they would have done it a few years, because I don't know how many years was that after the 9th season did they do?
I think it's 15, right? I mean, the season 10 is in 2016, and I thought it ended in 2001 or 2, right?
I will say this.
Summer
I
of
think-
Is there a
2, I
movie in
want to say.
between?
I was
or
going to
was-
say, I think the second movie is really good.
There's a random movie in 08.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first movie's amazing. I think the first movie is the best part of if you had to watch one thing of the X-Files beginning to
Watch the
end,
first
I
movie.
would watch the first movie
Hmm.
because it has everything in it.
Production
you
value. I
want.
remember when it opened, we're like, this is not a TV show
Right.
anymore. Because it was
It's
like
the
there's
best-
a chopper, and they're on a
There's a bomb
skyscraper,
squad.
and they're like, yeah, it was crazy.
But in terms of like mythology, it's the best part of the mythology because the mythology goes everywhere. It's
Yeah.
a roller coaster, and it constantly contradicts itself. But that movie is really good
Hmm.
mythology wise.
Okay, so let's get into the intangibles. Zach really wanted to talk about the intangibles.
He came up with the term.
New series from FX, The
The
Intangibles.
The intangibles.
The intangibles.
What were the intangibles for you guys? What was the experience like with you guys all watching together? I mean, you've kind of referenced it A lot of inside jokes, a lot of recurring bits that you guys would do watching
Let me get in here real quick before we get too far into it, because
Stick my pretty little head in here.
first episode, very clearly, I vividly remember. I mean, it's exactly
tells the
like
truth.
night and day. Like it is so clear to me.
I can already
first-
tell that he's not.
The first episode ends, and they're putting away some evidence, right? In like a giant warehouse in like the basement or something, and it's like the key to the truth. You know, it's everything that we've been working for. And it was first episode, right? I mean, it's like, oh, let's watch the X-Files. Okay, cool, sounds great. First episode, we don't know anything. Blah blah blah. The episode's ending. He's putting the evidence up in like a white box or whatever, and you kind of it zooms out a little bit, and then it's a perpendicular shot to the aisle that the guy's walking down, and it zooms out kind of. And you're like, oh my gosh.
Huge warehouse.
A huge warehouse with a bunch of boxes that look just like the one he put on the shelf. Which, if you know anything about movies or whatever, obviously what's the first thing you think of?
Indiana Jones much?
And we all three
of us.
all three of us said that.
Yes,
And-
we did.
And that was the first inside joke landed on the first day with all three of us for sure saying it definitely. and now whenever someone says something is the same time as you, we don't even say jinx. It's like it's our own thing. We say much.
Yeah.
And that's-
Even if you're doing something, you don't say something, you do something at the same time.
It's a much. It's called a
Much?
much. And it was
It's called much.
It was, and it it happened so many times throughout the series where it doesn't always happen like the first time, right? where all
We
three
started
of us-
trying so hard
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
After that, like
Zach will literally try to finish your sentence
Sentence
much and then do that. So and then you kind of, if it's sort of like iffy, like maybe it's a quote or like it wasn't exactly syncopated, you have to get validation from the third party that wasn't a part of the much. You have to be like,
Why
"Hey,
is
come
a
on,
minute
like a
come
referee."
on." So yeah,
I'll allow it.
but yeah, anyway, like, it was just such a good microcosm of the experience was that first day where all three of us definitely, like, said Indiana Jones at the same time. And the thing was, here's the thing, is Chelsea was watching too. She didn't say it, so
Right.
I can assume that she felt a little left out.
right.
But
And
that's
like
the thing
maybe
is-
like if she doesn't have a lot of regrets in her life, but if there's one thing that she could go back and change,
I mean, I wouldn't know,
it
but
might-
that's
Having Indiana Jones
but it
on the
might be
brain.
that.
right. Yeah, I mean, because maybe she didn't watch Indiana Jones like religiously growing up or something. But so I would say that's a great way to start this conversation because all three of us were just a part of something right then.
I feel like that also ended the conversation just now, that story. That really... Okay, never mind.
there was
Cricket much.
The other thing is there's a lot more than just the muches, because the much I think obviously started the ball rolling
Well, for all three of us at least.
for all
three
three
of us.
for sure. But there was a bunch. I mean, there was
If someone got up during an episode, we'd be like, "Scully's naked."
yeah.
And they'd be, "Oh no!" And that's not true, obviously.
No. It came almost true once at the end of the show.
True. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, in the new season, yeah.
And
Well,
that goes
outside
with
of-
part of it on the experience is we did watch it like people would have in the 90s because we watched it on Hulu, that
On our box TV.
non-premium Hulu.
With
yeah, on a
commercials.
cathode ray tube, the old TV style, with commercials. And so we could run up. You'd have to get up, get your snack
Yeah,
real
sure.
quick, no pausing.
Well, along those lines, outside of just the inside jokes, like, you guys, I know you two in particular are very much about, like, getting together and doing things together no matter what it is kind of thing. Like, this is our time to come together
much.
nice.
and hang. So how was it for you guys to just intentionally set aside this time to get together and watch this show?
We were talking about it all the time. We were always sending the thing is we were always sending the GIF out. It was usually it was a bunch of fun.
You had to tell him the story.
Tell us the story.
The original GIF, like
The original GIF.
Oh, was it one of us couldn't hang out? And so then there is a gif of Mulder pouring gasoline all over
And
himself.
the thing is, we hadn't seen that episode.
Yeah.
So anytime there was fire happening, we were like, this could be it.
This is
it.
This
And
is the gift.
And then, then it wasn't. And then when it was, we were like, oh my gosh. Yeah. I think,
Yeah, anytime there was fire in an episode, which is like 40 to 50% of
lot.
episodes, probably.
I think the cool thing is it's when you're in your, mid to late 20s, it's hard to set aside time to do something that everyone is fully committed to. Whether that be, because even it's like you have board game nights. It's like, sure, I'm going to hang out with my friends, but that doesn't mean I want to play board games. Always, you know what I mean? And so it was great because it's like we have an end goal in mind. We want to finish it. And that was the most, the commitment, I guess, that we all were like, let's do it. And then freaking did it. And anytime you saw a picture of, the Skinner has a picture of the sitting president behind his desk, and the first time you see it, you're like, it's Bill Clinton, and I don't remember who, but two people muched because they were like, Bill, Bill, like, much, and so then any time in Skinner's office now is a free much. If you
For
saw
sure.
Bill,
That's right.
If you
missed
saw,
that.
I don't even remember.
Like that's like a currency. How many muches you got? It's a
Yeah.
free one. You don't
Yeah.
even have to do.
I was
anything.
going to say, if we had to guess how many muches, like legitimate muches we had over the show's run, what do you think it got to? There's 218 episodes. How many muches did we get?
On average, we probably muched 1.5 times.
Per episode? There is no way.
I think it was more sparse than that.
I mean, we all did it the first episode for sure, but
Yeah. A
Hot
legitimate
start,
much?
yeah.
I think we're probably looking at
A
like
certified one.
A certified
Oh,
stamp.
I'd say
I didn't
like
have
much.
any of those.
90 or 100.
Yeah, I was gonna say under 100 probably, but we tried
Yeah.
thousands of times.
Yeah.
This is riveting information.
Along those lines, Jake, you kind of wrote this call to action at the end, engaging in more shared and long-term experiences. What did it? How?
Polygamy.
It says that
It's
in parentheses.
polygamy. How did this show kind of like? What kind of made you think about that while writing this outline? Is like, what about this show are you taking away from it? Because obviously the show itself wasn't. You wouldn't say it was the most amazing show you've ever seen. Would you even say it was like even in your favorite shows?
No.
Right. So what?
What as much?
Classic Jake.
So what has the show kind of? What have
Denied.
you taken from the show outside of just like the episodes themselves or the story or whatever?
And we're doing a lot of talking out here, and I want to be the first one to say, if you feel left out, what I'm talking about here is certainly if we were doing this podcast is not for you reunion episode in 6 years when we stop doing it or whatever, right? It would be the same thing I'm talking about. It's like, we committed to doing a podcast and we committed to doing one a week, various, tours or weddings or whatever, right? But it's like, let's put out one, and it's just really, really hard to find people that will do what they say with you for an extended period of time. And so that's really what I mean is like, if you're listening and you don't have like that's what kept me going through college. Like it literally was Taco Tuesday, and it literally was Thursday night. Me and Natty would always go out and eat somewhere else because, it was intentional, like sitting down no matter what. Right. And so that's kind of what I mean is it's so much. Life is about so much more than the television show you're watching or the meal that you're eating or whatever. But it's like if you consistently do something shared with the same group of people over an extended period of time, you'll look back and you'll be like, that was my life, and I didn't even realize what I had. You know what I mean? And so it's like and I don't know what that is for you. Like maybe you like, oh, I love mini golf. Let's see if I can get some buddies to go mini golfing every Friday night or whatever. And, you know, for me, I'm in a bowling league too with my mom, and that's super important to me because it's the same time every week, and I make that commitment, you know. And so that's more about what I mean. It's like, you know, it's powerful in the moment, but it's powerful when you look back and be like, man, I'm so glad that's what happened, that I didn't just come home and, you know, get a whatever the frick you guys do on Tuesdays.
Tuesdays much.
And just go sit in my room and just like dick around on my phone for an hour, and then I'm ready to sleep. You know, it's like I'm so glad that I didn't do that, you know.
Yeah, I think it helps reinforce, like, even when you're not feeling it, because like there's times where I'm sure each one of us was not like super jazzed to watch an episode. It just happens when you do it 220 times. Same thing with recording an episode of the podcast. It's like there's been times where I'm sure each one of us is like, yeah, I'm just not feeling it too much right now, but I'm still going to do it, you know? So I think that consistency and sometimes just showing up is enough and being there, and because then you have this body of time and work, and yeah, Jake's right. I mean, you get to look back, and we have a lot of life jokes now that were experiences that we can, I don't know, we're just a lot closer, I think, as friends from watching it, honestly.
That was beautiful. I was just thinking about that.
That is correct.
We're all
That is
thinking
correct.
about it. We're talking about it.
You know, 100% agree.
That is such
I
a
can-
great. I'm so sorry. That is such a great thing to say after someone gets done talking about that. Anything you can be like, dude, I'm just thinking about that. We're all thinking about it. We're talking about
Give me
it.
1 second.
That's so great. That's so great, dude.
Well,
I'm
both
just,
of you were looking at me like to start. And
I'm
I'm like,
just thinking about that.
I need to think about it first. I'll be honest.
Let's have to go last when we take a bunch of good stuff.
Mm.
I believe in you, though. I know you've got some nuggets in there.
I think a base human necessity is to have something to look forward to. And setting time aside, like with these guys, that's something to look forward to. Doesn't matter how small. You know, people might want to look forward to a vacation. You know, I might look forward to Tuesdays. Looking forward to Dan's LeMaisons. Gets you through a week, gets you through a rough day. Like, well, at least I'll go home and watch Dan's LeMaisons.
For sure.
You know?
Yeah. Or, you know, when you don't feel like it, you come home and you do shut your door without saying anything to either of us. We both look at each other and we're like, and then we go, Zach! And then we get you out of your room and we watch Dan's LeMaisons. Maybe it was the worst decision you made that day. Maybe it was the best thing. We don't know, but it's our job to, like, be there for each other, and that's kind of what the show was, you know?
Yeah, that's correct.
That is correct.
I agree.
Any final thoughts you guys want to share about the X-Files specifically? About the show itself? Any parting thoughts? General feeling, like, it was great. It was super, like, anything you want to sign off with?
It'd be really difficult to watch it again, I think, by myself. I think if I was gonna watch more episodes, I'd kind of have to have you guys with me. So, if that doesn't make you want to cry.
A reunion tour. We will be in a city near you watching
the
the
X-Files.
X-Files.
Because, I mean, a lot of people
Just at
like to
someone's
watch
house.
their favorite shows over and over again. I just
Yeah.
don't know if I would. I don't know if I'd watch it by myself.
Well, it's not one of your favorite shows.
Yeah.
It's one of your favorite, maybe, experiences watching a show.
I think it might be my favorite, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
It's right up there with Lost and The Office, but it's, yeah, this one's more special, I think.
Yeah,
I agree.
that is correct.
The question is, what's our next show?
Now what?
Or is that it? Can we just say
We're
The
never
X-Files
gonna watch
was
a
it.
show ever
The X-Files
again.
was our show?
I think it'll be like whatever Yo Gabba Gabba is in like 15 years, and then all of our kids can watch it together, and we can hang out while they watch that.
Yo Gabba
Okay.
Is
Gabba.
that still a
Binge.
thing? I don't know.
I don't know.
We have to
All
wait until
right.
we all have kids.
There's 418 episodes of Yo Gabba Gabba.
I'd watch it.
Well, thank you for listening and watching. This has been the X-Files. We've been talking about doing this episode for a
Schwanana.
long time. It was our way of getting Zachary Bowman onto this show. He's one of our original fans, one of our original listeners and fans. So Zachary,
He's sole owner of Patreon 1 and 2.
Yep.
Thank
He's
you.
the runner of
Yes.
our website.
Yep.
He runs our website and our blog.
go follow. What's the address for our blog again, Pate?
It's thspyv.gov.
Check it out.
Thank you for having me, you guys.
My name
thoroughly
is
enjoyed
Wes.
it. My name has been Zach. Pate.
Vince Gilligan.
My name is Bambi.
Bye.